So please, Anders, tell us a little bit about you.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me. Yes, my name is Anders. I come from Sweden, same as Liana. I'm sitting in the north part of Sweden, and she is in a bit more in the middle. Um, and we connected through an online course. A little about me: I grew up here in northern part of Sweden. I have suffered from chronic pain, which we're going to talk about today. That was something that I dealt with for plus 15 years. And it started through a car accident I was involved with when I was in my 20s. Um, Other than that, I'm have been a machine operator. I worked as a bartender. Due to my pain, I educated myself as an engineer in energy technology, and due to that, I had back pain. I had to change um, what I was working with. I couldn't sit in the machine, so I went back to university and became an engineer and worked in the wind farm industry for a couple of years. And then I got assaulted. On top of that, like with the back pain I had, so I got a neck injury too, and there was diagnosed as nerve damage too. So I had a nerve damage in my lower thoracic spine and in my neck. And Yeah, I guess that's the start of it.
Well, like Anders mentioned, he has the experience. He has been there. He has gone through it. Personally, I haven't been in an accident in any way that has actually harmed me. Um, but Anders, how for how long did you have this chronic pain?
So around 15 years it took me before I found a solution. Um, there was a lot of search, a lot of trial and errors on the way. Um, More than 35 different things I tried, probably over 40. I know for my back, before the neck problem occurred, I had tried over 30.
Oh wow.
Um, so yeah, a
Um,
lot of trial and errors.
yeah. So what? I mean, I guess when you have pain in your body that is constant, I don't know. I think that when you have pain in your muscles, what I would think of would be not only to get help from a doctor, but to actually exercise more.
Hmm.
How did you do that, or how much exercise was in your rehab?
So it was quite a lot. For many years, it was finding a physical solution. I really, after the car accident I was in when I was 20, I kind of, due to the lack of knowledge I had, I divided the. I had back pain, and I had, due to the car accident, was quite severe, and the person passed away. It was like a trauma in that way, mental trauma. But I thought if I fixed my back, hadn't broken anything in the accident, but I had back pain. And I thought if I could fix that, then I take care of the mental part later on, because I was also not feeling too good. Um, but then for many years, yeah, I did search for just a physical solution for the back pain. And in the end, I had to give it up, that idea, which was, I guess, hard also, especially afterwards. You feel like, how I've been looking for a solution for that many years in in the wrong spot. But I went to physical therapy, osteopath, chiropractic, something called twine, like a part of Chinese medicine, but it's similar to chiropractic. I read up a lot about physical movements, mobility, stretching, trigger points, sorts of things, like to optimize my posture in different ways. I practicing something called the Augusto method, which was like to perfect posture. Um, and that actually, like, it helped me. This was when I just had the back pain. It helped me to get back to start being able to work, because I ended up in a long sick leave as I was finishing my study at university. But I wasn't able to get like fixed, and with the doctors and physical therapists, it was more like you get told that just give up. Like you have tried so many things, so eat medication instead. And I'm just like, that is not a solution for me. I can't see my life that way. And at my lowest points, there was even thoughts about ending it all. It was nothing to live for. It was such a struggle. I lay on different ways into my bed. I couldn't sleep in a like just however I wanted, or the bed had to be a certain way. I was on my side, and when I had my neck injury, I even pulled the mattress out, so I was sleeping like with my head like this. And in my car, I also adjusted. I created something that made the kind of the seat thicker because the rest wasn't able to put back. But so I extended that, and then I actually have it somewhere. Um, it looked like something like this, and then this was
Uh-huh.
for my spine to not touch, and I made it thicker so I could put my head back. So when I was driving car, I was like leaning back. It was a lot about working around and finding solutions to just cope with life. I slept with this kind of thing. It's an outdoor bandy ball. It's called. It's kind of a baseball, like solid, and I had it in my bed just if I woke up like in spasm. Um, I could put it and just press it into whatever muscle that was in spasm. Um, so yeah, there was a lot of. I tried a lot of physical solutions.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah, 80% probably was the physical solutions.
right.
Mm.
But how many different medicines do you take? Because I mean, during 15 years and nothing that really helped, I guess that you got different kind to see what works better.
Excuse me, what did you say?
How many different kinds of medicine did you take? Because if you had 15 years, I'm guessing that they actually try to give you different things to help you.
Yeah, there was. I don't know where I got my kind of resistance to take medication. Uh, Due to a lot of like when you read the paper and you look through like how many different kind of how do you say I don't find the word for it, but like symptoms can you get by eating different kind of
Uh-huh.
medication.
Yeah.
I tried a fair few, but a lot of them scared me just by reading the info. And as I got better my back, I actually just went back to the pharmacy with everything that was something to do with my back in types of medication they prescribed me.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, maybe like 10 different medications they was prescribed, but it was always like a push. Are you eating medication? Are you eating medication? And when you say, if you say no, then they want you to eat it, and they want you to eat like anti-inflammatory medicine. And if you say you're eating something and it doesn't work, they do want to prescribe you a stronger version or something like of other medication that's supposed to be stronger. I
Yeah.
had a willing to try cannabis as like a medication just to see if it worked.
Yeah.
But in Sweden, there are regulations against that, and the doctors has to like search for permission to prescribe that. And none of the doctors I met was interested in prescribing that. It was kind of more take what we offer or just deal with it. And I just fuck it then. Like I'm not gonna sit here. I'll listen to you then. Um,
Yeah.
so no, I didn't take too much medication, but I was prescribed a lot.
Right.
Mm.
Because one thing that I mean, you told us that you felt that there was a time where you just felt that why even continue?
Mm.
And that's one thing that I really think it's great that you actually got out of that position in your life to actually try to find a solution.
Yeah,
And the fact that you actually found a solution, which is great. And like we talked the last time, because we had this, but in Swedish. that we talked about, that there's so many people living in pain,
Mm.
chronic pain, and not only the fact that you are in pain all the time, but also how it affects your, not only your body but your mind as well. I mean, like you said, there is a point where you feel like, what is the point of continuing? And it's wonderful that you have reached to that level, that you have actually got yourself from out of that pain, and actually have found a way to even help other people to get rid of it. So tell us a little bit about how you even got there. How could you find a way to be out of that pain?
That's a great question. Um, yeah, so with all the research I did, there was, I guess you looked everywhere, like in the first, like what you have in mind, you're looking for answer there, and by the time you have kind of run out of ideas there, you're trying something else, um, and you're more or less open to try anything. It's just, yeah, I could give it a try. If it works, it works. I changed diet for a while. I just ate like raw food, which had effects like on my body, but not in the pain that I was experiencing. I'm practicing breathing, exercise, meditation, yoga, qigong, tai chi. Um, but then I educated myself in kinesiology. I thought instead of just taking like treatments every here and there, I might as well educate myself in something. So I looked for different classes, but I ended up studying kinesiology for about 13 months, and I thought they could actually solve it. And that at that time when I started, I was actually still looking for the physical solution. But by the like the third lesson or like time we got together, and it's like a physical class, the teacher showed me something about the mind and the emotions, and he put me in front of like in front of the audience on a table, and he was just going to like do a short, I guess, demonstration. But he said, yeah, take any topic. He put a hand on my head and one on my back, and I said, yeah, I want to talk about my the car accident I was in. And I thought it wasn't, I thought I could talk about it quite like well. It wasn't really that it was bothering me that much at that time, but I didn't even come to the place where the accident was, and I fell out in tears. And there was like 20, 22 people watching, like sitting around me, and then the teacher. And I start shaking on the table, and it's just, yeah, that was like a quite, how do you say,
Moving.
moving, yeah, experience. There were people crying who were just listening to what I was saying, and I guess just saw me. I don't even know how it looked like there. I was laying there on the table and shaking, and after that, I probably like shaked for another like 3 hours, uh, but the pain was gone for like 4 days in my whole body, and I thought it kind of like opened a new window that just, what is this? I want to know more about that. And by the time we finished the kinesiology, like the whole course to becoming a kinesiologist, I didn't find that we have touched that. What he showed us there, like the third time. So, but it opened my views to look for solutions somewhere else. It had opened already then. Like I need to know more about the mind. And at that time, I had been going to like psychologists, a psychiatrist, but it wasn't. They didn't seem to have the knowledge in the connection, like the physical pain and the mind. So we talked a lot about like how bad I felt, but it wasn't really focused on in the way that I found myself through a podcast, which I don't remember the name on. I heard some person, and then I found a book by written by Johnny Sarno. It's called Healing Back Pain, and that kind of opened my eyes. I got the book and I read about myself, like on all the pages, it was me. And it's kind of an epiphany, like in one way, you like question, like, how can I read about myself? Like, who's this person? But it really hit me like this is it. This must be it. And it's like as I was reading, is even the pain level was changing. Um, but I didn't know how to go from there. Like I talked with my psychiatrist at that time, like show the book and like this is I would like to speak about this part, but there didn't seem to be that much interest in actually getting into what is this. And but I'm like, it's this is psychology. I want this is the part where I want to dig into. So I got actually myself like I went online, looked around, and found a coach in the States that um, helped me on my way. And I could see that speeding up there because it's always like the more I read and the more I practiced, there comes questions and questions that yeah you didn't even know that it was going to come around. But it was good to have somebody that to connect to just being able to this is the question I have, so it doesn't stop you to move forward. Um, but I just kept on reading, and I wasn't maybe ready at that time to just let go of it because I wanted to know more. I wanted to know like on a deeper level. So I just kept on buying books, and I ended up heading over to like Indonesia, Bali, for a couple months to just read and just sit there. And by the time I went home, or maybe midway in Bali, the pain was totally gone. Uh, there was nothing there, and it's an odd feeling. It's really like when you think about it, you get happy, but on the other way, it's a bit unreal. And then you start questioning yourself: Who am I when I don't have pain?
Yeah. And after such a long time, too. I mean, it was
Yeah.
almost half of your life, basically.
Mm. Yes,
Yeah.
it's been like 2 years that I've been out of pain now, and yeah, it's fascinating still for me. So I'm keep on reading and getting more knowledge in this area, and I've connected with some doctors who are working with this topic, and I have some coaches that I'm connected with, and I started my own coaching business to help others because it's, as you said earlier, it's such a big task for us as humans that we so many of us that are suffering from chronic pain, and it's so little help to get, and it's
Yeah.
actually sitting kind of in our own hands. The
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I invited you, because and I we're doing the live in two different languages. It's because I feel that it's so important for people to find ways to get better and ways to, I mean, I know that you can help people to release a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
And it's not only the pain, but it's another pain that's behind it. Um, and I think it's so important because I'm that kind of person. I don't like medicine, if you really don't have to. And I think that if you have actually learned, I mean, if you have gone through it, you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And also just the fact that if you have had the same pain for 15 years or more, of course you were open minded to try anything that can help. I mean, just a little.
Yeah.
um, so please tell everyone how can you help them if they are having trouble?
So yeah, hopefully I can help them. There is no guarantee, but it seems to be the majority of people are able to get out of pain, and it doesn't matter if it's you can see on an MRI that there are changes in the spine. We all have changes in our spine. As soon as like in our 20th, like if you take an MRI, we see there is changes in our spine, um, and most people doesn't know about that. So by getting an MRI, most of us gets scared of it, and even if we're not on a conscious level, get scared. But it is something behind there that is just freaking out of saying, okay, is this the end? But I've connected with people who has like 5 herniated discs, and there's not no pain. Um, And they've done like the biggest study on this topic, or like on MRIs and changes. It was over 3,000 people who has never had back pain, and they can actually, if they mix them together with people who has pain, a doctor can't say who has pain and who has not pain out of the MRIs.
Okay.
Um, but what I'm trying to help with people is go through the mental part of it. Our um, relationship, our relationship to our emotions, and our emotions is seen as states in our subconscious mind. And we have normally system how we cope with things in life, which has turned out our youth that it was beneficial to cope with it in a certain way. But as we grow older, we have the same tools in our toolbox to deal with life. And we get children, we have a job, it's a career, maybe a trauma happens, and we get overwhelmed and we can't really deal with what happened or is happening right now. And it could be reminders also what has happened early in our lives. So what I'm doing is trying to deal with that, get you as a client, as a human, to actually get in contact with your emotions again. And a lot of times it's connected with anger and rage. It doesn't have to be there, but it seems the majority has a hard time to actually express their rage. Just allow it to be there and be angry.
Yeah.
Um, and by helping a person get there, and maybe even to cry or show grief or sadness, the tension seems to go away. And there was even research done on at looking at people who are suffering from fibromyalgia, that they found that um, there was a low level of oxygen in the tissue of the area where the pain is.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to just about that our mind is just lowering a little bit of oxygen in our tissue in a certain place, we get pain. Um, and it could be quite severe pain. There are people like laying on the ground screaming in pain. It's even, I've heard people say that, not me as a guy, but females who said that they've had a pregnancy and went through labor, and they said the pain they have experienced from the mind body, like how the denial denying your emotion had actually been worse than giving birth to a kid or a
Oh
baby.
wow. Well,
Um,
I know how that feels, so that's like the only thing I can relate to.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I, how was that journey for you? I mean, from going through your personal, um, I don't know, grief or anger or whatever it was that was there. How was that? Because I guess that, I mean, I don't think everyone is that aware always of our thoughts,
Hmm.
of the things that we have gone through, because we are very good at pushing aside feelings. So, how was that journey for you?
It's quite tough. It was tough, and it still is. It's not a pleasant thing to just sit with your emotions. Uh, so if you see it on a scale that the physical pain, if you see it the same like level of discomfort to being in the letting those emotions be felt, but when we're allowing them to be felt, they pass us. They have like an expiry date of by just giving them attention, uh, they seems to just let go. So a lot of us, like if you're trying to avoid something, we our thoughts will spin. So we get a thought that is triggering the emotion, and we're trying to avoid the emotion. And the more we're trying to deny it, the more we have that thought because we don't even like the thought. But when you allow the emotions to come forward and be felt, the thought pattern also like ceases to exist. It's just like lowering the volume as you go
Right.
by. Um,
Yeah.
so it's, I would say it feels like, yeah, the pain is kind of melting away, and it's also pretty common that in a way where you moving away from or allowing yourself to feel emotions and the pain goes away, there's normal that we have relapse too, that we start questioning, what did I do to get the pain to go away?
Yeah.
And you start to focus on, why is it gone? What did I do? And it's like, it wasn't nothing. It was just the knowledge, the understanding, and the ability to feel a little bit. And then suddenly maybe the pain is back. And then you start questioning, what did I do to get it back? And it's and you're freaking out for that. So it's uh, it's not a straight line for most of us, but it's about the whole journey is about knowledge and allowance. So when you understand yourself and how you work, and that there are things that you're trying to avoid, you actually have a way out. Uh, and that seems to have followed through the history of time. Um, but and there also are a lot of research on it too that shows it seems to be this way. So it's not
Yeah.
like a lack of research. It's actually quite a lot of research, but it depends on where we look if we want to see it.
Right.
Um, but even
Yeah.
if you go back to like Plato or Carl Jung or Freud, there are like they talk about the same thing. But then at some point we got in too far, like maybe fixing the physical or what we can see instead of looking at we are as a whole body. The mind and the body is connected.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's great. So, if you want to give people like three things to think about that they can do, what would that be?
So one thing is just to stop every now and then and just ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And normally it's about feeling it in your body. Just put some tension, like or some attention. How you say it? Like attention to some part, some bodily part, like the chest or the stomach, or and just ask yourself, what am I feeling? And whatever is there, just sit with that without analyzing, without saying yes or no, that is good or bad, or just sit with it. Um, Another thing is to do journal. It's something that's called like expressive writing. It's journal speak. There are different names on it, but it comes down to the same thing: to write down as you kind of write a journal, but you do it out of emotions. So you see it like the past and the future and today, the now, and you can make a list of what um, if you remember maybe like the things that you can see as traumas in your past, make a list out of that and just pick one of them and just allow yourself to sit down and write freely about how you feel about that happening, that occurrence, or the history around that, and don't hold back on anything. Whoever was involved, use the whole vocabulary you have. uh, and it's about like writing for 15-20 minutes. It could be 10 minutes, but as you get into it, might not be even every day, but in the beginning try to do it every day. uh, and you finish up by ripping it apart. It's nothing to analyze, it's nothing to go back to and have a look at. It's just to get kind of a distance out of what you're expressing on a paper.
Yeah.
It's could be hard for other people to understand what you're writing about, and you might put names there that could hurt them. So that's why it's important also like to not show it to anybody else. That could
Right.
be at like your anger at your kid, your husband, your wife, your parents, um, whoever that
Yeah.
is, a friend, a teacher. But there needs to be a voice for that emotions. Like we can't just uh, push it away. And the
Yeah.
better we get to understand ourselves, also, I can see that you get a better vocabulary also to express what you feel to people around you, and not push it that it's their fault. It's actually how I react on what they're doing, and you can like, then express that. Okay, I'm feeling this way when this happens. And that's not to say that you're wrong. It's just that I don't feel good about it. And
Yeah.
that's not, then I'm genuinely not pushing that you're the person that is doing something that to hurt me. They might not might be even aware of they triggering you. But if you
Right.
let them know that this is actually really frustrating for me. And I don't know why I have that pattern. I just do. It's just triggering me. Uh, and
Yeah.
I think it seems to be really helpful with the conversation in the relationship if you can express yourself in a better way or when you start to understand yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I know we have talked about it before also, that how important it is to be open to others and to express yourself, and I think that, I mean, you can be honest and be open with your husband or wife or whatever, but there's still, when you still have something to process, you
Mm.
might not be totally honest,
Yeah.
and maybe not even honest with yourself.
No, and you probably aren't even aware of that
Right.
you're holding back.
Yeah. So I
Um,
think, and I that's what we talked about the last time we talked, that I do believe that it's very important to talk to other people, especially, I know for me it's much easier to talk to someone that I don't know, or that
mm,
doesn't, you know, have me as his wife or or best friend or daughter, because it's still you. As a person, I don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings either when I'm telling, I don't like this, or I don't like how you are in a certain way, and things like that. um so that's why I really believe that it's so important to have a coach, and also because, you know you don't have to hide anything for another person, and who
yeah.
is not there all the time. So I really do think that it's a great thing to have a coach to help you along the way
Mm.
with this. So Anders, what is it that if someone wants to contact you and get help,
Yeah.
how does the whole process go?
Um, so yeah, we normally have a phone call to see if I could be of any help. Depend on what you've been through, or if we are suitable for each other. Like sometimes you don't connect with a certain type of people, and that's fine. But then I mostly can guide them to someone else, and that's important. Like the connection that we actually, because it's the, how do you say, the outcome we are after. Like we want to
Right.
move forward and make sure you get what you want, why you came to me in the first place. And then we would move on to, if we want to work together, we would move on to like a health, fill out a health formula to just to see what has happened before, what have you been through. And then from there we would go into, if you work just like by the hour, that is more like, yeah, you get a call and we see as we move along. But if you work on a program with me, then we would maybe have like an 8-week program where we follow up, and you get assignments, and I do follow up to make sure that you're doing your assignments, to hold you accountable of, we make sure you're moving forward. um, and we are probably working with different kind of tools to make maybe some sort of like fast track to feel those emotions
Right.
without analyzing, just to get those emotions out. And I find it quite interesting or fascinating, like how much they can come out quite quickly, and the difference that it's um happening over a short period of time. So the idea is for me to hold you accountable and make sure that the progress is going. And then by the 8 weeks, like we have more or less a weekly call. Then we have a follow-up call a couple of weeks later to see that you're still on track. And because some people, they get out of pain within a week, a couple of weeks, and other ones it takes longer time. But there is kind of no going back as you get knowledge and understanding of yourself. We can't go back to the old patterns because now we already changed the way we think and the way we see the world and ourselves. Um,
Right.
so there is like longer calls that we talk, and you also have a place where you can ask questions on whatever comes up as you move along.
Yeah. And
So
that's
that's the
great.
idea. I don't know if I got all with it, like all
Yeah.
the info with it, but yeah, it's a bit easier like if you have a person that you're actually working with, and you because then the
Yeah, of
question
course.
comes also with that, uh, whatever they have that they're curious about.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for those who are interested, we will be putting your webpage
Mm.
where you can contact Anders. And yeah, I mean, if you have any questions, please do ask. um, let's see, we have one question. The book that you talked about,
Mm.
let me see, what was it called?
It's called Healing Back Pain, and it's written by a man called Johnny Sarno.
Okay. Yeah, that was one question there. Do you have anything else that you want, that you feel that you want to inform or tell people or?
Um, yes, I would say like if you start going in that direction of working on your emotions, um, it seems to be important, or my experience so far is that it's quite important to drop everything else that you're taking as treatments if you wanted to move forward. Um, I
What do
did a
you
mistake.
mean when what do you mean when dropping everything else? I mean, it's
So if you're doing like physical therapy, or going to the chiropractor, or whatever you're doing, like if you're going practicing and you training like for the symptom itself, you're taking treatment for the symptom. When you start working with your mind, on your mind and your emotion, it seems to like stopping you, it's giving you mixed messages. If you um, are in different ballparks, that you're actually just focusing on the mind. um, that is an advice I can give everyone. um, and also get into doing something that you enjoy. Bring in something that give you enjoyment in life. If it's play playing tennis, or running, or go for that, like something that's really gives you pleasure in life.
yeah,
If that's around like hanging around people, just communicating, then go for that. It seems to be a lot of like people who suffering in pain. With time, you kind of avoiding more and more things. I had stopped drinking coffee and dairy products, and a couple other things. And as I was working with my emotions, I got back into trying to drink coffee to see, but like if this is true, then I probably don't have any problem with my stomach either. And it
right.
turned out there wasn't anything. So I had avoided to drink coffee for a couple of years, or probably 10 years.
So you
And I,
missed 10 years of coffee.
yeah. But it's like I I even tried to see how much coffee I can drink if the stomach is getting upset, and I had like 1.5 liter coffee in a day, and nothing happens. And it was kind of just a question also for me: how many things have I told myself to believe, or the society or the family has told me things that I believe at this moment to be true, that is actually something that I've just been told, and I start to
Right.
believe it.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, the
yeah, that
mind
could
is
be a wake up
amazing.
call.
Yeah.
But I guess there is a couple of authors you can look up also. Gabriel Mate is has written a lot of books on this topic. When the body says no, um, that one is
Yeah.
I can recommend too.
Yeah. I that's what I love right now that there are so many, I mean, there's so much information. And it's sometimes also very hard to try to find it because it's like an overload.
Mm.
But also the fact that there's so much more information about your mind, about how you actually can do much more than you think you can because of the beliefs and thoughts that we have within us. So it's very
Yeah,
amazing how the mind has so much power over us, or I don't know.
it can be overwhelming when you start to understand it.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, Andesh, thank you so much. And I don't think we have any questions right now, but
Mm.
if you have any questions, write it down and Andesh will be answering.
Yeah,
um,
and they are welcome to contact me if it's any questions also. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Just send me a message or go through my go to my homepage and send an email from there. So I'm open to have a conversation if it's anything that comes up as a question.
yeah, great.
I,
Well, Anders, thank you so much for tonight. And I hope that you can keep helping people to get pain free.
yeah, I hope so too. I hope we can create something, a huge movement here that gets people out of pain.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for tonight. And thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Liana.
Take
Bye bye.
care.